All praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Bashem Hakodash, and give it up lines to the elder apostles and elder bishops, a great millstone, who well, peace and salutation to elect. Yahweh is the true, almighty, powerful name of Heavenly Father. Bahashem is in the name. Yahweh Shai is the name of the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father. Bashem Hakodash, name is Spirit Holy. Of course, double lines to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. If I haven't said that, Shemir Mothman Zamapa from the Great Millstone Playing Tables Camp, located here in the city of Philadelphia. Just coming with a lesson. You have it here off of Neil McCoy Ward. I believe he's based out there in across the pond in London, England, if I'm not mistaken. But he's been a very decent source of different current events, especially occurring within the economy, the world economy we're talking about. And he has posted this video 14 hours ago, current date being March the 22nd, 2025, hopefully year of our deliverance and destruction and judgment to Esau Edom. And seeing, of course, this current event topic or headline, it lines with the fall and the destruction of Esau Edom. Who is Esau Edom? Esau is the so-called white man who is white. He's actually red. So you have it, it's titled Bad News for the Stock Market and How to Position for a Deliberate Takedown. Okay, so we just gonna go into this and bring out some edification and just go from there.
So apparently the stock market is doomed and Trump is about to destroy everyone's pensions and life savings. Well, that's what the mainstream media is saying, at least. But is this true? No. Okay, let's get that out of the way first.
Now, he's going to say no, but he's not a prophet. Okay, he's a regular man, but he's into being one who is an expert concerning economy or economics. And economics is tied in with kingdoms, rulerships, okay, etc. Goods being traded, goods are being, of course, taken by caravan and sold in various markets. That has always occurred and such. And as you go into what is the stock market? The stock market is where investors connect to buy and sell investments. Most commonly stocks are with shares of ownership in a public company. Okay, and you have it. The stock market is a set of exchanges where companies issue shares or in other securities for trading. It's also called it also includes, over-the-counter marketplaces where investors trade securities directly with each other rather than through exchange. All right. You have it. That the stock market often refers to one of the major stock market indexes, such as the Dow Jones Industrial Average or the S&P 500. These represent large sections of the stock market. because it's hard to track every single company. The performance of the indexes is viewed as represented as of the entire market, and you might see the headlines that say that the stock market has moved lower or that the stock market has closed down for the day. This means often that stock market indexes have moved up or down. And the stocks with the index have gained or lost value. Investors who buy and sell stocks hope to profit this movement in stock prices. Okay, so you can, read some more up on it if you want to on your own. But we're just gonna go into this because again, this man stated that.
But is this true? No. Okay, let's get that out of the way first and foremost. In today's video, I'm going to answer the question that I've had over and over and over again for the last 3 weeks here. Neil, should I sell out of the stock market now, or should I double down and buy the dip? Well, there's a number of things you need to understand about this current market volatility if you want to protect yourself and even profit. Yes, you can profit from this downturn. Firstly, why is this market decline happening? Well, it's the Trump factor. One of the biggest drivers of market volatility is Trump's trade policy or policies. His administration has imposed high tariffs on key trading partners, resulting in some explosive showdowns with other nations, which no doubt you've seen on TV recently. 1 minute there are tariffs about to be announced, and then suddenly he'll do a massive U-turn. So let me give you some context around this then. In February of 2025, a 10% tariff was placed on Canadian energy imports and a 25% tariff on other Canadian goods. And to say this made the Canadians a little bit upset would be an understatement. Trump hits Canada, Mexico, and China with tariffs all at the same time. Then in March of 2025, Canada retaliated with a 25% tariff on American imports and a surcharge on electricity exports to the US. This of course then caused even more escalation. Trump responded again by doubling tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, or aluminium if you're watching from the UK. So it wasn't 25%, it was now 50%. So what we had was this back and forth reversal then. After strong backlash from American manufacturers and supply chain disruptions, the US administration then announced a temporary suspension of the increased tariffs on Canadian steel. This
Right, and like I say, why is really they doing all these different things? Okay, one, you have it that as the scriptures will tell you, the scripture tell you in James, the first chapter, that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And you have it that you see with these rich men and such. They're looking super extremely double-minded. Okay, you can see the volatility in the markets, and them being double-minded, being waver, uncertain, and doubting, and divided in interest. Hey, that's showing a lot. Okay, you got this guy. He's saying that pretty much there's bad news for the stock market, but the economy is not over. It's not gonna crash it. But then you have other economists saying it's over for the stock market. Trump plan crash explained. Okay, so you even have the economists, they speaking different, and these are mostly Edomites that House divided too. and it's just bring about confusion, and that's part of biblical prophecy of confusion, being in many places. This is Psalms 109 and 29. It says, "Let mine adversary be clothed with shame, and let them cover themselves with their own confusion as a mantle." Okay, and this is what we do pray for, because Esau Edom is, of course, one of our enemies. Okay, a great major foe to us. Okay, you have it, the other nations, even 2/3, and a lot of these different Israelites, so-called Negroes in America, are the Israelites, and the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad. They believe in Esau Edom, his trade system and such, money system, and don't know that it's doomed to fail. Within money, there's a lot of shortchanging, a lot of deceit, and the men of hearts. I mean, the scripture talk about the hearts of men. It says heart is desperately the wicked, who can know it? The mind. Okay, so especially with the economy, you gotta watch out how you're dealing. Okay, so this is James chapter 3 in verse 15. It says, "This wisdom," which I can read a bit above. This is James chapter 3, 13. It says, "Who is a wise man, and endure with knowledge among you? Let him show out the good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom." That's within your behavior. Okay, having good behavior, basically good conduct. "But if ye have a bitter envy and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth." Right? I don't give you justification to go against this knowledge. If you have envy and strife in your heart, contention, riyab. Okay? Riyab is strife in Hebrew. And this is verse 15. It says, "This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish." Okay? "For where envy and strife is, there is confusion and evil work." And you have it, that, the world promotes that sensuous nature, being super duper deceitful in the left hand side, and there's a whole heap of confusion. Got some people like, man, I don't know how this man got more. He told me he told me this was gonna do that, especially with these markets. That's confusion. Keep going.
This somewhat unexpected policy shift caused further market swings, as a lot of investors kind of scrambled to adjust their positions yet again. And what this did was highlighted the volatility created by unpredictable trade policies. And I'm sure most of you have already done this, but if you haven't already, could you please click the like button, subscribe if you're not already. Okay, let's get into a lot more of this then. So on the one hand, tariffs may seem like a good way to protect American businesses. And actually they are, or they will be when this all comes into play. However, in the short term, they often lead to a high degree of uncertainty via retaliatory tariffs from other nations, especially those who have been affected. So the stock market and investors react negatively to economic uncertainty. This is the key word here, leading to a number of sell-offs. And what happens when you get
bloodbath for the U.S. markets?
Sell-offs? Well, they lead to even more sell-offs. This is because markets thrive on stability. People want their stocks to only go up in value and they don't like any risk. When businesses and investors can actually predict their costs, trade conditions, and government policies altogether, things are a lot more stable and you see better returns in the market. However, uncertainty disrupts this entire process. So what are we seeing right now? We're not just seeing uncertainty, we're seeing extreme uncertainty. So what?
And like I said, the economists would know. All right, the scriptures say Ecclesiastes 12. Pretty much the economists have been predicting a crash, for quite a bit. One greater than 2008, and we coming with a great reset. Ecclesiastes chapter 12:1. Remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. And the times of famine, scarcity of food, lack of getting different various resources, things being slowed, and we have borders being set and checkpoints being set up. Different various policies are set against you. Being able to freely do as what you would. Those are prophesied to come. Okay, these cities breaking down. Okay, these are prophesied to happen. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the days when the keepers of the house, the economists, shall tremble. Okay, the economists are as household managers, and they're forced to give different various investment and advice based on their watching or knowledge within the economy, and they would give forecasts, and many people, investors and stuff, would go and run with that. Okay, but then when things do get bad, they don't want to lose the value of these stocks they invested into, right? They want to profit and make huge profits over its growth over the years and time. Okay, but the years and time, they have, of course, a cap. Okay, the Lord set boundaries on Esau Edom's rulership, and we're at the end of it. All right. Yeah. I think that's in Acts chapter 4 or 18 or 19. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. Maybe Acts 19. Oh shoot, let me see. Boundaries can't have. Acts 17:26. So Acts chapter 17 and 26, and it says, and hath made of one. Well, I can start a bit. This is Acts chapter 17 and 24, and it says the powers that made the world and all things therein, power Yahweh Shem Yahshai, seeing that he is the Lord of the of heaven and earth dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worship with man's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath in all things. Okay? And the Lord gives that as you go into even breath, even spirit and inspiration to do different things. You have it with these different nations and stuff, with these goods and stuff like that. They, of course, wish to prosper and to advance and have success. But now Yahweh Shem Shai is bringing down the success of the nations. All right. Give me I gotta get a moment. I think it's in Sirach, like the 13th or something like that. 12 chapter something. Says up. Keep going for now. It says, and hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed, and the bounds of their habitation. Okay, so the Lord had determined the times before appointed. Okay, the Lord already knew the time of the rulership, the time of when you're going to rise and also when you're going to fall. Okay, before it was even appointed. All right, the Lord judged that out. Okay, and you have it where Israel have an everlasting kingdom to come, promised unto Solomon, which is Yahweh Shai, one of his reincarnations. You have it that's going to be played out with Yahweh Shai when he comes and takes down this kingdom. It's going to be an everlasting rulership forever and ever and ever. All right, without any nations coming up and taking and ruling back over the nation of Israel. All right, so you have bounds that have been appointed. All right, you have a definite limit and bounds. All right, laying down the limits. The Lord laid down the limits. All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and 4. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. So the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. All of these goods and stocks and everything that you have that you see is in the power of the Lord. Or the Yod. All right, which is hand in Hebrew. Representing power. It says, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. Okay. And the Lord with obviously Yahweh Shem Shai, and the government, all right, the house of David being set up, the 12 sitting on 12 tribes, judging just 12 thrones, 12 judging the 12 tribes of Israel. That Masharah, that government is gonna flourish throughout the earth and have this earth in its perfected state. Okay, the heathen obviously being ordered. It says, in the hand of the power is the prosperity of man. So the prosperity of a man is determined by the Lord. Okay, so your advancement, you get in a better position, you doing better as an individual in your pockets, in your basket. Hey, that's all controlled by the Lord. It says, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor. Okay, so I'm gonna go back down to this Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 4, or 12 and 3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the straw men bow themselves, and the grinders cease to work each jobs. And you see a lot of different big major corporations are folding. all right, going bankrupt and not re-emerging themselves. Okay? It says the grinders cease because they're few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, the future. All right, economists can see the future is darkened and stuff like that. You know, this can't bring nothing good. You know, you have it that they'll say, oh well, this can right now bring a little temporary good, but really no. You know, investors like that which is predictable, and we're dealing with forecasters on the left hand side. Okay, because that's what Esau Edom, when he's a Nachash or more serpent than any of the beasts of the field. You go into this man is a witch. Okay, he's the one that practices. As we go into, he practices divination and fortune telling. Okay, and hey, you see, with the the fortune, these goods and such, a person's destiny and stuff. This man want to tell you it, but he himself don't want to tell you he's through and doomed. Okay, that he himself is through and doomed. He'll rather tell you that America, through lower level Edomites, that America is being made great again and stuff of that sort, and that mantra being played out to the rest of the citizens, and the citizens eating it up, despite the fact of these things going on truly in the economy that don't point to the signs of a big economic growth as they would think, projected over a long period of time. There's too much that's going on in the world negatively that the Lord is impacting this earth in, all right, that shows that this place is doomed and set to fail. All right, Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. This was another man. It's the same spirit which is Esau Edom of today. Okay, because he's very subtle. I or one, which goes into being shrewd. Okay, being prudent and sensible. Okay, the scriptures talk about how in Ezekiel. Let me see. Damn, hold up. Let me get it. Find thy track. I gotta see if I can spell it. Yeah, I think it's in Ezekiel chapter 28. Yeah, Ezekiel chapter 28:5, it says, starting at 4, it says, I started 3, it says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, who is a prophet. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten the riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. And this man has got all of the resources, the best things, okay, in his control. And this dude is flipping things on these different investment markets. Okay. Imports, exports, on Wall Street, stocks and bonds, etc. Okay. It says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, which is the merchandising, okay, Rakala, going back to recall, it just means to go about, being a trader, okay, a trafficker, all right, traveling and trading, a merchant, okay. And that's what Esau is doing, okay. So Esau is trading all of the goods, okay, going on. And thine heart or your mind is lifted up because of thy riches. You have it where a lot of these Edomites don't think they can ever lose, okay, that this place will never fall, okay. Ezekiel chapter 28 in verse 11, it says, moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus. That's Esau. Okay? And say unto him, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom and perfected in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of power. Every precious stone was thy covering, the stardust, the topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, and the gold, the workmanship of all the tabrets, and the pipes of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. All right. It says, thou art that the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of power. Thou hast walked down in the midst of the stones of fire. All right. Thou wast perfected in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. By the merchant, this is the point I have. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence. And thou hast sinned, therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of power, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of the fire. All right, you have it where a lot of these so-called Christians think going into spiritual demon Satan and stuff like that. And this is just talking about Esau, Edom. All right, simple. And ill dealings and stuff. And the Lord setting them up and things and having, all of this riches and things, okay, of that sort. Okay? Because going on, it says, thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities, by thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to the ashes upon the earth in the sight of all men that behold thee. And the Lord going to destroy Esau, Edom, in his rulership. Okay? All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. Okay? We know that's talking about Esau because, the Lord talks about a great future judgment happening to Esau, Edom. Okay? You go to Obadiah, it talks about in verse 18, and remember this goes for Esau. All right, it'll say it. Obadiah 1:17, but upon Mount Zion, dealing with the Israelites, dealing with the elect first. Okay, the 1/3, starting with 144,000 prophets. And there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Right. In the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall be kindled in them, and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh has spoken it. So Esau has a judgment to blot him out, to be as a dream, okay, or as dung. This is Job 20:8. It says, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as the vision of the night. It's like a bad dream. You wake up. I woke up the other day from a bad dream. All right. And I just wanted it to be gone. All right. Chazawan. All right, going back to Chazawan, which goes into a vision. Okay. Or dream in that case. All right. I'm going to go actually read a bit above. This is Job chapter 20:5. That the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellence mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds. Yet he shall perish like forever, like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? All right, because this man gonna be taken out of the way. Okay. It says the eye, verse 9, the eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. Yeah, you're going to give up all those goods that was stolen, all right, from the children of Israel. All right, this nation being stolen, the waters, the lands, the territories, the resources, okay? And you're gonna give that and translate that back to the nation of Israel, because that comes with the transition of power, with Yahweh Shai bringing you down and we coming up. All right, as we know, the saints shall take the kingdom. All right, and Jacob held the heel of Esau Edom. Okay, and will pull his rulership out. All right, do Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and the Lord. But as he says, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. All right now you got Esau Edom being first, so he gonna be last. Okay. The scriptures talk about how better is the end of the thing than the beginning thereof. So we are, in great times. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, yet his meat and his bowels is turned, it is as the gas within him. All right. He has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh Bashem Yashah shall cast them out of his belly. Okay. So Esau, he got to give that up. Okay. All these goods. Okay. Ecclesiastes 12:4 says, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right. Zephaniah chapter 1, to tell you. In 10 it says, and it shall come to pass in that day, just said the Lord Yahweh, and there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Okay, you're going to have a market crash. All right. The fish gate represent Esau economics and such, right? The marketplace and such. All right. Okay. Market Sha'ir. All right. Sha'ir go back to basically like gate, right? And it also means to calculate, gatekeeper, estimates. Okay. What do you think them dudes, them traders, investors are doing? Estimating. Okay. Sha'ir. The marketplace, public meeting place, right? You have it obviously with Esau Edom, with these various stock exchanges and such. There's going to be a crashing, okay? From the hills, the various different of his strongholds that's used to hold this man's image, okay? This here, okay, as it says, how ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off, okay? And that's going to happen in these times, okay? Now you go into the ancient, but that's talking about now, okay? So, you have it, bad news for the stock market and how to position for the deliberate takedown. They're trying to let you know, but it's going to fall regardless. It's just we waiting for it to fall completely. So you could check the rest of the lesson. I gave the edification through the spirit. Good other lessons too.
The stock market is over, and you should get out before Trump triggers a full-blown recession. That's what the mainstream media want you to think. Headlines are screaming disaster, social media is in a frenzy, and everyone is asking the same question. Should I sell now before it gets worse? But there's more.
So that's what you got going on. All right, shalom to the elect.